Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into something that's, well, really taken off, the business software and service market. We've been looking through excerpts from the Global Business Software Market Outlook 2033 report. And our mission here is basically to unpack this whole evolving landscape, pull out the key insights, to help you understand its incredible growth and what it actually means for you.
Yeah, and it's so relevant right now. This isn't just software code we're talking about. It's really changing how organizations work, how they collaborate, how they grow. I mean, think about it, everything from big ERP systems, CRM, cybersecurity, cloud stuff, plus all the services to run it all. It's fundamentally altering the economic playing field globally.
Okay, let's unpack that. We've got some, frankly, striking figures for the global picture.
Yeah.
So back in 2021, the market was already significant, just over, $404 billion?
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting. By 2025, it's forecasted to climb over $610 billion. And then by 2033, it's projected to more than double again. We're talking almost $1.4 trillion.
Wow.
That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of nearly 11%. Pretty powerful stuff.
And that, almost 11% CAGR, it's more than just a number. It really shows that these digital solutions, they're not optional anymore for businesses, not a luxury. They've truly become like the essential engine driving how modern companies perform worldwide. I mean, that kind of sustained growth. It proves companies are fundamentally shifting how they build, scale, even think about their operations.
Right. So if that's the global tidal wave, where's the growth really exploding? Let's do a regional deep dive, maybe start with North America.
Yeah.
Still look like a digital powerhouse.
Definitely.
The revenue there was about $148 billion in 2021, expected to climb to nearly $482 billion by 2033. It's a remarkable pace.
It really is. And North America, especially the U.S., which has the biggest slice of that pie, it's driven by, well, its maturity, but also huge investment in the really cutting-edge tech. Lots of AI adoption, machine learning, advanced cloud solutions. What's interesting to me is seeing how even these mature markets keep finding new ways to grow. Look at Canada keeping pace, over 11% average annual growth, going from around $18 billion up to over $64 billion.
Yeah.
And Mexico's showing really healthy expansion, too. It really speaks to that continuous innovation.
That's a great point about innovation, even in mature markets. Okay, let's hop over to Europe. Europe seems to be a story of maybe steady ascent, strong digital integration. The market size there was roughly $88 billion in 2021 and projected to more than triple, heading towards $286 billion by 2033. That's still an impressive average annual growth rate, over 10%.
Oh, absolutely. And you see leading countries like Germany showing really robust growth, over 11%. They're almost quadrupling their market size, from about $17 billion to nearly $60 billion.
Right.
The UK isn't far behind either, expanding significantly to over $42 billion. What's really compelling in Europe, I think, is how widespread the digital transformation is across so many different industries. Manufacturing, financial services, and we're also seeing really consistent, strong growth across France, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, all in that healthy double-digit growth range. Plus, even smaller, really developed economies like Luxembourg and Switzerland are adding quite a bit to Europe's overall expansion.
Okay, so North America and Europe, impressive figures.
Yeah.
But Asia-Pacific, that seems to be the astonishing accelerator here.
That's a good way to put it.
This market's expanding at a stunning average annual growth rate of almost 12%, jumping from around $107 billion in 2021 to over $404 billion projected by 2033. That is a huge leap in just over a decade.
Yeah, Asia-Pacific is definitely setting a blistering pace. The scale of adoption is just immense. China's leading the charge, naturally poised to hit over $114 billion by 2033. But the real standout, I think, is India. It has the highest average annual growth rate in the entire region, an incredible nearly 12.6%. It's surging from just under $16 billion in 2021 to almost $66 billion by 2033.
Wow, 12.6%.
Exactly. And this amazing growth, it's fueled by, well, a massive young, tech-savvy population, right? Plus really aggressive government digital initiatives and its growing role as a global hub for outsourcing and innovation.
That really puts that number into perspective. And it's not just China and India driving this, is it?
Not all.
We're seeing stable double-digit growth in places like Japan, South Korea, Australia, too. And then there's the rapid acceleration in, say, Singapore, over 12% growth rate there as well.
Yeah.
And Southeast Asia, generally, showing a similar impressive pace.
Right.
It really signals Asia-Pacific's, well, undeniable dominance in digital transformation, just the sheer capacity for rapid adoption.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's look at South America. The market there is expanding too, from about $26 billion in 2021 to over $91 billion by 2033. That's a robust average annual growth rate too, over 11%.
Still very strong.
Very strong. Brazil, for instance, grows from around $10–11 billion up to over $37 billion. And Argentina actually boasts a stronger average growth rate, almost 11.8%, reaching nearly $15 billion by 2033. It just shows this widespread push for digitization across the continent. You see it impacting economies from Colombia, Peru, Chile.
Right. Okay. And then there's the Middle East. I saw growth figures there that look like quadrupling in some areas.
Yeah, pretty dramatic in places.
The overall business software and service market there is set to grow from almost $22 billion in 21 to nearly $77 billion by 2033. Again, locking in over 11% average annual growth.
And what's particularly fascinating there is the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Its market size is expected to nearly quadruple, from about $3.7 billion in 2021 to over $13.8 billion by 2033.
Quadruple, wow.
Yeah, and this explosive growth, it seems largely driven by these really ambitious government plans to diversify their economies, away from oil. They're investing heavily in things like smart cities, tourism, digital infrastructure.
Makes sense.
And Saudi Arabia and Turkey are also right at the forefront. It signals this whole region-wide digital evolution that's really gaining momentum, opening up new opportunities.
Okay, last region, but certainly not least, Africa, an emerging market showing really strong promise. Revenues increasing from just under $14 billion in 2021 to projected over $48 billion by 2033.
Yes, and if you zoom out a bit, you see some really powerful stories there too. South Africa alone is set to nearly quadruple its market size, from about $5.5 billion to over $20 billion. That's an average annual growth rate of almost 11%.
Again, almost quadrupling.
Right. And Nigeria is rising really rapidly, too. It signals growing IT investments across the board. And, significant digital capacity building happening right across the continent. It feels like a continent really embracing digital tools to sort of leapfrog some traditional infrastructure hurdles.
Okay, so we've covered the globe. The numbers are undeniable. They're huge. But what does this all mean for you listening right now and for the global economy? I mean, what's really driving this remarkable growth everywhere we look? What's the core takeaway here?
Well, fundamentally, I think it boils down to businesses worldwide just doubling down on digital transformation. It's not just talk anymore. It means serious strategic investment in key areas. Things like cloud computing for agility, automation to boost efficiency, and really deep enterprise software integration to make operations seamless.
Right.
These aren't just buzzwords, right? They're absolutely critical strategies for companies trying to stay competitive in this market that's changing so fast. And as trends like, remote work become embedded, e-commerce continues to boom, advanced data analytics become crucial, well, business software and services become those essential engines we talked about, the engines of modern enterprise performance. They basically enable companies to adapt, to innovate, and ultimately to thrive. Doesn't matter their size or where they are.
Yeah, you've really nailed that connection between these massive numbers and just fundamental business strategy. These figures, they clearly show a sector in, well, hypergrowth. It's reshaping global economies, accelerating innovation at a pace we probably haven't seen before. So thinking about all this incredible growth globally and regionally, here's something maybe for you to consider. How might the next big breakthrough in enterprise applications emerge from maybe an unexpected corner of the world? And what capabilities do you think will define that next generation of these essential engines for businesses going forward? Hey everyone, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really dynamic, the forces shaping the business software and service market.
It's definitely a hot topic right now.
Absolutely. Our mission today really is to cut through all the noise, get straight to the most important insights, maybe even some surprising ones, from all the material we've looked at.
Yeah, distill it down.
Exactly. We'll unpack what's driving the growth, look at the hurdles companies are facing, and then touch on some of the really exciting opportunities popping up. So let's dive right in. What's really fueling all this activity? I mean, beyond the obvious stuff, what are the key growth catalysts pushing this market forward so fast?
Well, you mentioned automation, and that's definitely huge. But I think what's maybe less discussed is the intensity behind it now.
Intensity, how so?
Businesses aren't just tinkering with automation anymore. They're really in a race for, hyper efficiency, trying to cut down manual work, not just for savings, but for agility.
Right, being able to pivot faster.
Exactly. And think about platforms like ERP, CRM, project management tools. They're becoming less like separate tools and more like the central nervous system, the whole company.
Connecting everything up.
Precisely. It's pushing this huge demand for software that can genuinely transform how things operate day to day. It feels, well, non-negotiable now in competitive fields, and that ties directly into the cloud adoption piece. But again, there's a nuance here.
Okay.
So yeah, gone are the days of just expensive on-premise systems. We know that. But the strategy behind the cloud shift is evolving.
Beyond just cost savings.
Definitely. It's about resilience now and global access, especially with remote and hybrid work becoming standard. SaaS platforms are like the backbone.
Keeping things running where people are.
Yeah. And interestingly, we're even seeing some strategic rethinking cloud repatriation in niche cases, maybe due to data sovereignty concerns or costs. So it's maturing.
So it's not just a blind rush to the cloud anymore.
Not entirely. It's becoming more deliberate, more strategic. But that shift to cloud-native thinking, still a digital imperative, absolutely.
That makes sense. And how does all this, the efficiency drive, the cloud shift, connect with the focus on data? Everyone's talking about data-driven decisions.
Completely connected. Because, modern business just runs on insights now.
Right.
But what's really changing is the sophistication. It's not just about gathering data.
Oh, yeah?
BI tools, analytic software. They're moving past just describing what happened.
Where it's prediction.
Exactly. Predicting what will happen and sometimes even prescribing what actions to take. That's where real-time data becomes crucial.
Okay.
Businesses are using it for smarter, faster decisions, optimizing supply chains, predicting customer behavior, spotting market trends early. Being able to analyze and act on complex data isn't just nice to have. It's table stakes now for staying competitive.
Okay, so powerful drivers there. But, of course, it's not all easy growth. What about the hurdles? What are the big obstacles companies hit when they try to adopt all this software?
Yeah, it's definitely not smooth sailing. A major one is still the cost, both the initial investment and those ongoing subscriptions.
The sticker shock.
Pretty much. Even if the long-term benefits look good, that upfront cost for licenses, integration, training, plus the monthly or annual fees, it can be a tough pill to swallow.
Especially for smaller businesses, I imagine.
Absolutely. SMEs, small and medium enterprises, often have tighter IT budgets, and projecting the ROI, the return on investment, can be really tricky for them. The total cost of ownership often creeps up higher than expected.
And what about fitting this new tech in with the old systems? You can't always just rip everything out, right?
Oh, that's a huge headache, a very common hurdle. Many companies rely on older but often very stable IT infrastructure.
Legacy systems.
Exactly. And the challenge isn't just making things compatible, it's untangling this complex web of systems built up over years, sometimes decades.
Sounds messy.
It can be. You've got data migration risks, worries about data lineage, potential downtime during the switch. It can feel like open heart surgery while the business is still running.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
So it often means a slow, careful, sometimes pretty painful digital transformation journey, managing old and new side by side for a while. And then, of course, there's data privacy and cybersecurity. That's massive.
Oh, there's a concern.
And it just grows as you move more to the cloud. The risks, cyber attacks, data breaches, falling foul of regulations, they increase significantly.
Thinking about GDPR, IPI.
Exactly. Those kinds of regulations. Plus, industries like healthcare, finance, government, they handle super sensitive data. They have to be incredibly careful.
So it's more than just compliance checklists.
Much more. It's about building robust security in from the start, ensuring you know where your data is, who can access it across all these different systems, cloud and legacy. It's a fundamental design challenge now.
Okay, so we've got the drivers, we've got the hurdles. Let's shift gears to the future. Despite the challenges, where are the big growth opportunities? What's the exciting stuff happening?
Well, right at the forefront, I'd say, is the integration of AI and machine learning. It's really starting to permeate business software.
AI is everywhere now, it seems.
It really is, and it's moving software beyond just being a tool. It's becoming more like a proactive partner in decision-making.
Like how?
Think intelligent chatbots that don't just answer questions but anticipate what you need next. Or personalized customer experiences based on predictive analytics. Advanced fraud detection that learns on the fly.
Wow, okay.
It's really starting to redefine workflows, boost accuracy, and let businesses react way faster. What's also interesting is seeing the new roles emerging because of this: AI prompt engineers, data
Mhm.
ethicists,
Right.
jobs that barely existed a few years back.
That's a huge shift. And you also mentioned something about industry-specific solutions, moving away from generic platforms.
Yes, definitely. There's a clear trend away from the one-size-fits-all approach. Providers are really focusing on what we call vertical solutions.
Tailored for specific industries.
Exactly. Highly customized for sectors like retail, healthcare, logistics, manufacturing. And these aren't just small tweaks, they're built to handle the unique challenges and workflows of that specific industry.
So less need for businesses to customize it themselves.
Precisely. It often embeds industry best practices right into the software. So deployment is faster, it's more effective out of the box, and it understands the specific regulatory needs, for example. It allows even smaller players to get really specialized capabilities. And lastly, something that continues to shape everything is the evolution of hybrid work and mobile-first development.
Right, because teams are spread out everywhere now.
Exactly. So there's this relentless demand for platforms that are intuitive, work seamlessly on mobile, and support real-time collaboration, easy file sharing, basically full productivity from anywhere.
Things we kind of take for granted now almost.
We do, but ensuring that cross-device compatibility, the user-friendly interface, the cloud-native architecture, these are baseline requirements now for any new business software aiming to keep teams connected and effective no matter where they log in from.
So if we try and wrap this all up,
Yeah.
the big takeaway seems to be that this market isn't just growing fast, it's getting way more sophisticated, more customized, more intelligent,
That sums it up nicely.
driven by these core needs, efficiency, digital transformation, better insights, but also constantly being shaped by new tech like AI and just, well, the changing ways we actually work.
Indeed. And looking at the bigger picture, you could say this market is really laying the essential groundwork, the tech foundation, for how businesses will operate tomorrow. It's enabling things we couldn't really imagine doing effectively just a decade
A
ago.
really dynamic space for sure.
Absolutely.
So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening in your own work or your industry? Is there maybe one surprising insight from our chat today that stands out? How might it shift your view on business tech and the tools you rely on every day? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.